Hello, I would like to officially get my opinion on the class out there now that I've spent the last few days playing it and testing with it. So if you're here to get your opinion validated about the class, it's probably not going to happen. I have a pretty unique take on it. I don't think the class is in need of nerfs. I don't think it's super strong like that. And I also don't really think it's in need of buffs. I don't think it's super weak like that either. I do think it's super janky though, and that is what a lot of this video is going to comprise, because this is also going to be a very quick class breakdown overview. I don't think you are bad if you're struggling to play the class and make it work, and I don't think you're good if you can make it work. It's just not that deep. Also, as a side note early on, if you're posting shit like, this class shows me how fucking bad the community is, oh my god, go fuck yourself, dude. Especially during a free weekend. You're gonna sit there and shit talk a bunch of new players and say how awful, how fucking miserable the game is because people are bad during a weekend when a bunch of new people are trying it out? Go fuck yourself. Seriously, douchebag. Toxic elitist douchebags. Anyway, sorry. I'm going to save that tangent for a different video. But anyway, this class is very janky. So here's your very brief early day one overview that you should take with a grain of salt, because no one, let's chill with the day one hot takes. No one knows the class very well, including myself. Don't take this opinion as like gospel. Use it as a good springboard to like start thinking for yourself. Blackout grenades are fine. The Reddit launcher is horrible. Chem grenades are disgustingly overpowered. The anarchist aura is dumb. The ruffian aura is fine. The gunslinger improved aura is disgustingly powerful. Desperado is it's only as good as the player using it. It's either pretty bad or really good, and it's really going to depend on how you view it and what you can get out of it. Rampage is really janky and weird. It works, but not really with many of the Ganger unique weapons, which is weird. Stim supply is just kind of bad, not because of it being weak, it's bad because of jank, and I've got a whole tangent I want to go on about this. Vulture's mark is fine, but it's kind of made irrelevant by chemical dependency. Adrenaline frenzy feels like shit. I hate using it. It feels so bad. And chemical dependency kind of feels like a band-aid to fix all of the class's problems. Okay, also, the Stim lab is stupid. The fact that the meta way to use the Stim lab is either to only invest in one tree or to invest one node and use it as a bomb for Stim supply, it's the Stim lab needs a buff. I don't care what anyone says about that. Pretty much everything in the Stim lab just feels bad. Okay. Now we can finally start going into a breakdown. So what do I mean when I say the class is janky? I think a lot of the class's full potential has been held back by jank. So, for example, the needle gun. It shoots and it applies a dot. In your face gives you range damage the closer you are. Does the gun benefit from this? I mean, it's a dot. Well, the answer to that is yes, it does benefit from this. Oh, so even though it's a dot, it applies ranged abilities. Okay, good to know. Then you go to the immediate next ability, Voice of Tertium, replenish toughness on ranged kill, and it doesn't work with the dot. What? It just benefited from range damage. So is it a ranged attack or is it not? There is all sorts of jank like that, and it's really tainting people's opinion of the class, because I think if everything worked in a way that just naturally made sense, the class would be a lot more like easily accessible to people. Which is another thing I want to say. It doesn't matter if the class is good or bad, and it doesn't matter what your opinion is. At the end of the day, what really matters is most people just feel bad playing it. It doesn't matter if the class is or is not overpowered or underpowered. What matters is, how do people feel? People's feelings matter more than the truth a lot of the time. And this is a perfect example of that. Class can be like completely overpowered in your opinion, but for most people it feels bad and weak. So therefore it deserves to be changed on that alone. Anyway, another example of jank is Stim supply. Why the fuck does all the abilities on this class, they don't regenerate while they're being used, which is weird. Every other class ability doesn't work like that. And this is especially a problem for Stim supply. First off, why does it eat your Stim? That means that the immediate keystone right below it has direct anti-synergy with it. Also, one of the modifiers is when a Stim becomes available, get the crate back. Again, chemical dependency gives you like 30-40% ability cooldown reduction. Why the hell the Stim comes back faster than the crate with the cooldown reduction? Why? Like, they're not compatible competing methods of getting the ability back that don't synergize in like any way. It just feels bad and it's weird. So another thing that's weird, why does the crate eat your stim? I could understand this if it was going to work like this, but then fast acting stims exists. So the crate ends in 5 seconds, but you get 15 seconds of the crate effect, which is just your stim. Your stim is 15 seconds by default. So this just is 15 seconds of your stim with the crate on cooldown. So it can't be because they're worried about you cooldown scumming it, because you can already cooldown scum it with this one node. You see what I'm saying? It's just weird. It's just janky. So there's nothing stopping you from stimming, dropping the crate, and double dipping on your stim anyways with fast acting stims. You can drop your stim, or you can stim, get the crate buff, and it's like, you see what I'm saying? It's just weird. It's just jank. It's just dumb. So there's just all sorts of things like that. I think once it gets fixed, this class will be a lot more intuitive. Okay, now let's do a much more in-depth breakdown on those things that I was saying before. Blackout grenades are fine. They're exactly what you would expect from something like this. There are quickly regenerating flashbang that can be quickly used and immediately interrupts everything. Like, there you go. It's exactly as good as it sounds. It's basically Zealot's Stunstorm Grenade if it had a shorter active duration, but regenerated. Very strong. The Reddit launcher is terrible. It's competing against crack grenades in theory, like for what it's trying to achieve. Crack grenades are just better. You don't get enough of these. And honestly, can I mention this, by the way? Why does the Reddit launcher not have blitz modifiers? There should be like a shrapnel warhead. There should be a armor thing. Like, I think it should just be a regular ass bazooka that's not good at anything until you buy a blitz point with it. And now it's either like super AoE horde clear monster or super giant like crusher nuke. Like, I just feel like it feels bad in its current state. Chem grenade is disgustingly overpowered for what it is. It requires 0 support, 0 nodes, 0 anything. You just take this grenade, throw it in a choke point, and you can kill like 50 armored enemies. It's quite absurd. Probably the strongest blitz they've ever made, and I don't think it's ever going to be fixed. It's either going to get nerfed. Like, how would you nerf it? You could make the dot do less damage, in which case it sucks and you're not going to use it. You could make the dot not explode, in which case it sucks and you're not going to use it. This is a very unique combination of abilities that work together to create a very toxic power, which I guess is fitting. Anarchist sucks. This is literally just one tier 4 perk for your weapon. Ruffian is fine, but melee is not particularly good on this class in general. And Gunslinger Improved is just better survivalist. Do you take the equivalent of a tier 4 perk, or do you take better version of the best aura in the game? Yeah, real hard decision there, Fat Shark. Even if you plan on using Pickpocket, by the way, you should be taking Gunslinger Improved just for your teammates. Okay, now let's talk about the ultimates. Desperado is the most fun I've ever had in darktide. It is so unique. It is so creative. There's so many ways for you to just use it to completely invalidate gunners for your teammates and just work against them. I really love it. I love guns. I love aiming. I love the fast pace of this ability. It feels very good. I said in my day 1 build that it's probably the weakest ability. I take that back. I don't think it's true. And this is why I like to avoid day 1 hot takes. And I was very clear in that video. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. This is just what I've been using day 1. Don't kill me if I'm wrong. And I think it's very important to not lose sight of that, especially with all these YouTubers posting their opinions. It's only been a few days. No one knows anything. Like, just chill on the hot takes. Oh, the class is terrible. It needs buffs. It's unplayable. Oh, the class is so strong. It's fucking ridiculous. Oh, please nerf. It's like, can we just, like, have some time to let the class sit? Like, goddamn. So, here's what I do and don't like about Desperado. I don't like how janky it is a lot of the time. For example, I don't like how you can't get cooldown back while it's active, because it just feels like I'm being punished for being good, because if it's active for a long time, that's also a long time where I'm not gaining any cooldown reduction. But my opinion on that one may very well change. It might be too strong if it worked that way. Maybe it should work that way to a point. Maybe you can get 20 seconds back maximum. But it feels like you kind of need to use chemical dependency to get around a lot of this jank. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Pick your targets is really good. I have no complaints at all. I actually wish there was a second rending node that was gain 3% rending, stacking 5 times every time you kill an armored target, because I don't think this would be very overpowered for a very simple reason. Your initial, by the time you would get like 3 or 4 armor kills to stack that up, your rending stim would run out. So it's not like you'd get 15% from pick your targets, 15% from your rending stim, and then you'd start building up the rending that's basically just replacing the stim by the time it runs out. So I don't know. I feel like that should be investigated in a little bit. I also think Anarchist should be replaced with a rending aura. They've never made anything like that. This is the second crit chance aura we have, and it's just as terrible here as it is on Psyker. Why isn't this like 5 or 7.5% rending? Excuse me. I mean, that would make sense. These guys fight the Arbiters, and the Arbiters are super tanky because they're super heavily armored. It would make sense if they have like a way to give the whole team a little bit of rending. I don't know. I feel like it fits thematically, and it would be a lot more useful. I'd actually consider using it over, you know, if this was like give the team 7.5% rending, I'd actually consider using it over like the Gunslinger improved. Anyway, Focus Resolve is kind of bad. Focus Resolve is 5 out of 40 seconds or 45 seconds. It's like not even 10% of the cooldown. Then you consider you're getting 40% cooldown from chemical dependency and another 12%. This is not even the equivalent of a Curio perk's worth of cooldown. 5% or 5 seconds of 45 seconds is like 7, I think, percent. Don't quote me on that. I haven't done the math. It's like 7% of the total, which you get 12% from your Curios. So this is worse than Curio rolls. That's not a good sign. Overall, I think Desperado's great. At the very least, it's so much fun. It's pretty much the only thing that I want to play. So even if I'm completely off base, hey, let's say I'm completely off base and you think it's terrible, right? Let's say I'm wrong. Let's say Desperado is awful. Then, which I don't think it is, by the way. I think Desperado is probably the best ability. So like, even if I'm wrong on it, it's so much fun. I don't care. You know, if I don't want to be right. If this is wrong, I don't want to be right. Sorry, I lost my ability to speak eloquently there for a minute. I turned on the lizard brain. Rampage is another ability that I don't really like. So Rampage is not as good as Scryer's Gaze. And I know some people are going to take issue with Psyker comparisons because they don't think anything should be compared to Psyker. Well, I'm sorry, I don't live in delusional La La Land where a class that's existed at the power level that it's at for the last 2 years just doesn't exist, and you're not allowed to compare things to it because if you do, then your opinions start to fall apart, which is something I'm seeing a lot of people do. Which, by the way, I'm genuinely not referencing any one person there. I've seen at least 12 different people that are like, yeah, well, Psyker and Veteran are overpowered, so you shouldn't compare things to them anyway. Which is like, guys, are we living in, like, what delusional reality is this? Those classes still exist. You still have to compete with them. Yeah, sure, they're overpowered. But they've existed for the last 2 years. You don't get to stick your head in the sand and just be like, you know, and just be like, well, we don't get to compare things to them. It's not fair. They're too strong. They've been too strong for 2 whole years. At some point, you just gotta, it's like the dueling sword. You just gotta accept it's here to stay at this point, man. Anyway, so Rampage feels bad because it's a worse Scryer's Gaze. Rampage is like, it's weird that there's a part of it where, like, you take extra damage and lose all your stamina and stuff. You should definitely take away the downside of this. It makes no sense that there's a downside for 7 seconds that you get. It just feels bad. It just feels so bad. And personally, I don't think I'll ever play a Rampage build. I played it once in Havoc, the Crowbar Rampage thing. Really didn't like it at all. And I'm probably never playing it again. I don't care if it ends up being the best build or whatever, which I severely doubt that it will be. And it feels bad because, one, why do other characters get buffing ultimates like this that have no downsides? Why does this one have a downside? Even if you remove the downside from this, it wouldn't be the best personal, like, just press it and get extra damage ultimate in the game. Scryer's Gaze would still be better than it, even if you remove this downside, which means the downside just feels weird to have in the first place. And I don't feel like melee scum is a very good build at all. I think the crowbar is fucking terrible, but I also feel like it's your only really good option at dealing with armor. So it's a catch-22 where like it has pretty terrible damage. I've been trying the Bonesaw out, which definitely feels better. I kind of like Bonesaw Rampage a lot more than Crowbar Rampage, but I don't know. I wouldn't trust my opinion on this one. I need to do a lot more experimenting with this before I'm comfortable saying anything for certain. And the ability modifiers for it are fine. Nothing is like offensively bad or dumb like with the Stim supply. It feels like it's a well thought out ability. I just feel like the downside is complete overkill. Stim supply I really don't like. Stim supply is, I like the idea. In fact, I love it. But Stim supply is mega jank. Why does it consume your Stim? Why is there an ability to effectively get your shit back? Like, you can literally use Booby Trap, and you can, like, pop Booby Trap with Sample Collector and get, like, a quarter or more of your Stim back right away. Which means with practice deployment and Booby Trap and fast-acting Stims, basically you only get the crate back by getting your Stim back, which the crate consumes. So, like, what is the benefit of that playstyle? Then you have to Stim before using the crate every single time, which is just an annoying little chore. And maybe you don't want to use a Stim for yourself. Maybe it's a better situation to give the Stim to your teammates through the crate, but then you lose the ability to get your own Stim. That's not a fucking choice. You're not actively choosing that. You're just trying to deal with the weird nature of the ability. Feels terrible. And I hate it. I did like 5-10 runs with the crate, and I was like, this just feels bad. Oh, look at that. Havoc clutch with Ganger. You know, according to some people, it can't be done. This is why I really hate day one hot take posting, because like it's everyone looks silly at the end of the day. All right, let's talk keystones. Vulture's mark is fine, but there's no reason to take it when chemical dependency exists. I'm just going to be honest. So 5% range damage, 5% range crit, and 5% move speed. That's cool. 15% toughness back on elite kill. Very nice. This class definitely benefits from that. Except it doesn't, because ranged Ganger with Voice of Tertium doesn't have a problem getting its toughness back. It has a problem where if you take a hit, if you get shot and then take a melee hit, you lose like half your health. It doesn't have a problem getting toughness back. It has a problem reducing its incoming damage. That's the problem the class runs into survivability-wise. Actually, like, actually getting your toughness back is not an issue on ranged guy. Sorry I'm repeating myself a lot. Like I said, it's early takes. I don't have a very refined opinion on the class yet, I don't think. Vulture's push felt pretty bad. Pushing elites and specials, knocking stuff, like, you get a kill on elite and a special, and then you push the horde around you back. I mean, you kill so fast with the dual SMGs, you just don't need this. Vulture's dodge is... Critical strikes grant immunity to all attacks for 1 second. It's nice. The problem with this is, again, it's more weird-ass anti-synergy with the ability. Chemical dependency has weird anti-synergy with Stim supply. Well, what's the point of Vulture's dodge if I'm going to have Desperado active? Desperado makes you immune to gunners, and yeah, sure, 1 second of invulnerability is pretty nice, but 1 second's a lot shorter than you think. It's pretty much impossible to actually, like, scum it out. You kind of just have to, like, circumstantially benefit from it at best, which doesn't happen very often. Like, it's cool, I guess. Patient Hunter is pretty much a mandatory tax node to make Vulture's mark work. I don't have anything else to say, really. It's a fine keystone, but I don't like it because the biggest draw of it is the crit chance, which you just get from chem enhanced anyway. So now let's talk about Adrenaline Frenzy. Adrenaline Frenzy is interesting. I personally did not enjoy using it at all. And it's just not strong enough, I don't think. Oh, also, look at this bullshit right here. Look at this. Look at this guy. Grabs me through the fucking wall, and then his AI breaks and he gets stuck. Don't ever let people tell you that there's not a whole lot of jank, yeah? You're also about to see the power of chem grenades in it here. But anyway... So I don't like Adrenaline Frenzy because 10% attack speed and 25% melee damage is just not strong enough to be a keystone. It's just not. And this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 keystone modifiers. None of them increase the power of the adrenaline frenzy itself. They only increase the power, or like the staying power of it. Every single modifier node for this keystone only exists for keeping the keystone having high uptime. But uptime's usually not a problem with this. It's that 25% melee damage and 10% attack speed just isn't that good on a class that doesn't really have good melee options. Speaking of those melee, no, we'll talk about weapons in a second. So, like, killing blows grant 4 additional stacks, killing an elite grants 10 stacks, non-killing blows grant none. Like, okay, whatever. Increase the duration to 4 seconds. Well, yeah, I mean, that doubles the duration of the stack, so you kind of need that. You know, you replenish 5% toughness per second is, like, probably the only actual keystone modifier you feel like you absolutely need to take. Increase the double the duration of frenzy. You know, like, it's just a bunch of tax nodes. Double the duration of the keystone for uptime. Well, you kind of have to take that. If you think the keystone is strong enough to justify using in the first place, doubling its uptime must also be strong. Same with doubling the adrenaline stacks themselves. So it's like, you know, weak spot hits grant 2 stacks. There's a bunch of things that give you more stacks but turn off generalist ways to get stacks. And then there's a bunch of stuff that just increases the uptime. So it feels like you got to spend at least 2 or 3 points on tax nodes to make the frenzy feel like not dog shit to get and maintain. But then you actually look at the like modifier effect of it and you're like, wait a second. Don't other classes get similar keystones that are just kind of better? Like Heavy Hitter on Ogryn is just kind of better than this, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of melee scum. I feel like it just feels bad across the board. Chemical dependency feels like it's a band-aid for the problem of the abilities not cooling themselves down. So it feels like you're kind of forced to run this to make the class feel good. And maxed out chems is the literal definition of a tax node. If it makes the stacks last less time, but you get another stack, why would you not use this? It feels like you're kind of forced to take this because, I mean, you could see in the gameplay, thanks to mods, because Fat Shark's UI is abysmal on this, you pretty much never are not at 4 stack uptime. So there's really no reason not to use this. And using the Stim replenishes 50% toughness and gain 5% toughness damage reduction per stack is desperately mandatory. It's like actual damage reduction, and it's an on-the-spot way to heal a bunch of toughness if you can't shoot for whatever reason. And then you just get the 20% crit chance from Chem Enhance, 5% per stack. So it's like, okay, 20% crit chance, 20% toughness damage reduction, 40% ability cooldown. Yeah, that's definitely the best keystone. Nothing else compares, even remotely, to that. The Stim Lab, I think I already gave my opinion earlier, but I can't remember if that was a take that I discarded. Just in case, I'll just say it again. Stim Lab is bad. It's poorly designed. Everything about it sucks. The meta for it is like either grabbing one node and just using it for the Stim Bomb, like with the Stim Supply ability, or just going up to like the rending or the cooldown. I don't know anyone who uses the attack speed or the defensive stuff. Maybe you do. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's good. I find it mostly as just... Excuse me. I find just using it as a bootleg red Stim is the best. Which, by the way... Dude, it only gives 15% rending. Just make it a red Stim, man. This, I promise you, 25% damage and 25% rending wouldn't be too strong. I'm sorry, it just wouldn't. You are fucking mega, like, you are a mega chud if you think that would be too strong. Because, like, red Stim on its own isn't necessarily the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's when you combine it with other stuff. It feels like this class, like, you can balance red Stim all the time because you're the one making the numbers. I don't know. It just feels bad that knowing had I taken no Stim at all and just grabbed the red Stim on the map, it would have given me a stronger outcome than using the cartel special Stim. How the fuck is the cartel making worse stims than the bootleg dumbass Nurgle followers, by the way? Is this Fat Shark's way of saying Chaos is better than the Imperium? That's fucking heretical, Fat Shark. I'm gonna fucking report you to Games Workshop for that, man. How are the heretical stims stronger than the Holy Emperor ones, bro? Whatever. So as far as the weapons go, I hate the dual stubs. I think they're terrible. I think everything about them sucks. I hate twirling them. It just feels like a tax to make it do the damage that it should do regardless. I hate the stiff-ass reload animation. I hate the way they sound. I hate the way they look. I really despise the dual stubs. They're probably my least favorite ranged weapon in the game, which is crazy because I love pistols, and I was glazing it so hard, the idea of it before, but they're just weak. They're underpowered. I don't like them. They don't one-shot things that I feel like they should one-shot. Maybe I'm wrong about this because I only played with them like 3 times, and each time I was like, ugh, this feels like mud. This feels bad. I'm sure I'll play with it more as time goes on, and hey, maybe my opinion will change. I don't think I'm even 75% right with my takes on this class right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's many things that I'm wrong about. The crowbar feels fucking horrible. It feels like it's one of the worst melees in the game. I hate it. I hate that you need to use the rampage, and you need to take every melee damage node, and then you still need to do 2 weak spot heavies on a crusher to kill them with all of that active. Meanwhile, veteran just one-shots them, psyker just one-shots them, zealot just one-shots them. I hate how Arbides gets like 90% rending on his shock maul just for existing. Meanwhile, I have to pop an ultimate and do a heavy and take like 3 blessings just to barely not do the damage he does. God, it just really annoys me. I hate, oh damn, we ran out of footage. Sorry, low budget show. The shivs feel nice, but why do they have nerfed Uncanny? I'm not even against nerfing Uncanny. It's just weird that you gave this class the knife that has normal not nerfed Uncanny. Then you gave it a class knife that has nerfed Uncanny. As a result, I just feel like the regular knife is just kind of better than the class knife. But I don't care. I fucking love the cleave daggers. I know everyone thinks they're bad, but they're like my favorite melee, okay? I don't know why. I can't explain why. I just love using them. I'm not too fond of the normal version of these. The bone saw is the weapon I'm the most suspect on. The bone saw is interesting. I've seen some stuff that makes me want to investigate it further. I tried it in the Psychanium. I did DPS test, by the way, against Plague Ogren, which is a part of the next video. Reginald made that shitty short, and I wanted to like... I wanted to make my own video that's like, well, how much damage does the Hive Scum actually do? And I found for melee scum, Bone Saw is just way better than the Crowbar. I actually think the Bone Saw is a pretty good melee. And I think the dual SMGs are fantastic. I just wish it had a little bit more rending. I just wish the class had a little bit more rending. Because this class is carried by Rotten Armor not being a thing anymore. If Havoc modifiers change in 3 months and Rotten Armor comes back, this class is going to suck. I'm just going to be honest with you. This class cannot fight Rotten Armor very well at all. You'd have to go like Rampage, Bonesaw. That's going to be your best option, in which case you're just a worse every other class in the game at that point. The needle gun is good, but super fucking jank. So many interactions that it doesn't... Literally... like 8 of its 10 blessings don't do anything. They only affect the initial needle bullet and not the actual dot, which is what the gun is all about. And the other mark just seems to be an objective upgrade to the base mark because it just spreads the explosion effect. So, like, the needle gun definitely needs another pass. None of the blessings do literally anything for it because they only affect the bullet and not the dot, which feels like a gigantic oversight and feels like shit. Like, God, if Speed Loader worked on that gun, it would be so much better. Yeah. I think overall the class is pretty good. I think people are massively overreacting. And I would like to talk about how toxic the discourse has been. Because you motherfuckers seriously need to behave. I feel embarrassed as fuck. being a Tide fan right now, seeing how immature and childish you people are being about this class. Saying everyone sucks, the fucking community's terrible because people can't play a class. Dude, if you're saying the community's terrible because random strangers on the internet don't play a fucking video game to the standard you find acceptable, oh my god, you need to fucking grow up and touch grass. And there's just the whole discourse surrounding this is toxic as fuck. Even guys like Reginald that are like relatively level-headed, respectable guys are like, lol, get good, scrub. Lol, 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 get good. La, 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 la. Class is overpowered. If you disagree, you're fucking a bad scrub player. And it's like, guys, the class has some good, strong points and some weak points. Like, can we just accept that the class is like okay and maybe we give it time to develop? But instead, no, it's like, you're either which side are you on? Are you on team playtester and you think everyone fucking sucks other than you and your like 3 friends? Or are you on team mystery and you think the class is terrible and if you don't think it should get buffed, go fuck yourself? I don't know, man. Like, I don't even feel comfortable talking about the class because everyone's being so goddamn mean about it. Look, I like to be like a character mean. I like to be like, you know, on stream and stuff. I'll be like, you're the worst darktide player. I just thought about the worst darktide players. Number 1, you. Number 2, you. Number 3, you. You were ass. You know, I like to joke around and have fun and like be pretend play toxic. But right now, you guys are just being actually mean for no reason. And it sucks. Talking about this class isn't fun. I feel like no matter what I say or who I disagree with, I'm going to get fucking like doxxed and killed for it. Anyway, that's going to be the next video, talking about the community's behavior about this class because it's